Hello, my peoples. Welcome to another installment of welcome to another installment with Winning 10 with Glenn. I'm double welcoming you to this installment. Last time I was with you, we were talking about the foundation of rock solid principles, and I want to continue with that on today's installment. So hopefully, as I was with you last time, I told you to go out and make it a great day. I hope that you did. And we'll look at that principle also soon about how no matter what is going on, how you can make it, or if you look to help someone else day be great, then your day becomes great because you will have helped someone else. There's a principle that you can take, and you can use that, and you can take that to the bank today and make your deposit, and it will have a return for you. How I can invest in you and it will bless or be of benefit to me. There's a principle. So, but more importantly, last time we were together, I talked and spoke to us about the basics and the foundation of rock solid principles and the whole notion and ideal of practicing and why principles are important. And we looked at rock solid, that is something that you can, it's not sand. I live close to the beach, and I go out on the beach, and you stand, and you can be standing still, and the elements and the things that are moving around you that cause the sand to shift, and then you find yourself wobbling, and over a period of time, you'll actually topple over, and then you could get buried by the sand. And the rock solid piece of this concept is that you will be able to know, because the principles that we're going to look at and we're examining, that they have been proven, they've been tested, and they're sure, they're rock solid. But let's look at the formal definition of a principle, and that is a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as a foundation for a system of belief or behavior, or for a chain of reasoning. So that's the formal definition of a principle. And the last time we were together, I was sharing with you the foundation and why I'm offering to you that, as I share with my kids, if you put principles to practice and practice the principles, you won't have to learn lessons. And I know people, you take a test and they say, okay, today's lesson is this. But normally, I don't know about you, but I hate, and whenever I look in the rearview mirror and I think about lessons, they were not fun. And it's funny too, oftentimes we say, well, I learned a lesson, or lessons learned. And well, no, you really didn't learn that lesson. Maybe I'm still doing that particular thing, whatever it might be. And so principles, simple things such as, understanding P&Ls, you put a certain principle to practice, or you read your financials, or you have a business plan. So you must have this in place for that to occur. So that's the principle, not that, in my case, I bankrupted twice. And then I might say, well, I learned a lesson. And you may say, well, what was the lesson that you learned? Well, the lesson I learned was don't do this. Well, okay, well, maybe that was the lesson. If I should have did, or I didn't do, when really what I want us to do is focus on what to do, the principles. And then if you're busy focusing on best practices, and I'm putting things to practice, I won't have to worry about what not to do because I'm going to be busy practicing. Just think about it. If your day was filled, if you were an athlete and your day was full and filled with working out and stretching and doing all of the things, and many of these elite athletes, there's a whole lifestyle, isn't it? And not what they ingest, the elite ones, what they ingest, where they go, and even in some cases what they don't do. But they don't focus more on what they don't do as more as what they do. Those are the principles, and those become the best practices. So, in continuing in that theme and context, because I really need you to get this solidified in your mind so that you are convinced and convicted. Say yes, convicted that I'm not criticized, but convicted. That is, I have a conviction that I'm going to do this no matter what. And so there's 5 reasons. I just want to do that on today's installment. We'll see if we can get through the 5 in the next couple of minutes. There's 5 reasons why we don't put these things to practice, the principles. And you're going to see principles that are critical for us as we look ahead and we start studying companies and we look at things that we can apply to our lives and our home and living together and, all these things. And, when I talk to business people too, and I talk to them about their businesses, I try and help them understand, especially small businesses, that your family life, be it married, single, whatever it is, you dating, you're single, whatever it is still connected very much to your business. Here's a principle that I've found to be 100% true, which all of the principles are. But, if you have a bad day at the office, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a bad day at the home. But I can assure you, if you have a bad day at the home, it typically will have some impact of what is going on at the office. Or, maybe if it doesn't, then you need to examine how strong your relationship is at home. Because their relationship, especially those of us who are married, is very much connected to, how you perform in the things that you do at work. And so principles are critical. And I want you to really be convicted again and convinced that when I hear some of these rock solid principles, when we examine them and when we discover them, instead of trying to pick them apart, someone's already tried to pick them apart. So why don't we just say, okay, how do I then adopt that and I make that part of my day-to-day routine and regimen? But the number one reason that people fail to practice and they don't see these principles manifested or come to fruition in their life is because they are impatient. Say that right. Just say impatient. I know some people say, well, patience is not my long suit. And some people, patience is not even in your deck. And that's part of the problem. You've got to be patient. We have to be willing to allow time to do its work. People don't, it amazes me at times how people think that things happen quick, and especially in business or even just relationships in general, or just life in general. And just think about it. The only thing that, as I've looked around, and I know there's many, but so that's a kind of a hyperbole stretch, but the only thing that I know happens or grows, there's a good word, grows quick is a weed. So you think about it, you go on vacation, you come back, you just left, you gone 3 days and there's weeds everywhere. And out on your lawn and it weeds, things that are typically, that's a good place. I'm on today's installment, that's a good place to stop and start, because weeds, there's something that I want you to, a principle that just happens to be true. Bad things seems to grow quicker than good things. Bad things will just sprout up, and there you are, bad habits. And so there's a principle that I don't want you to practice, but I do want you to get into your mind on Win with 10 with Glenn so that you can prosper. And take that from today's installment. We're going to look at bad principles and bad practices the next time that we're together. But remember this, it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. And so you go out and be a blessing to someone because you're blessed. And if you say, I'm not blessed, you will be blessed when you go out and give of yourself, of your time, or something to someone else, because it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. Thanks for joining me. Win with Ken with Glenn, Rock Solid Principles. I'll see you next time.